Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Positive Success Show. I am so excited to have a special guest with us today. His name is Travis Bays, the co-founder of Bodhi Surf and Yoga in Bahia Ballena, Costa Rica. So, Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dom, for having me.
um,
It's
so
a
I,
pleasure.
I originally met Travis when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Costa Rica, and he was like this senior Peace Corps volunteer that has had the experience. He was on his third year now, and we just connected like Peace Corps volunteers. I don't know, Travis. It's like this instant connection of we like to serve, we like to have fun, and we like to have adventures. And so I've only met Travis, I think, like we've been in physical space together probably 2 or 3 times my whole entire time I was in Costa Rica. So it's such a pleasure to reconnect with you and also have you on the show. So Travis, tell us how did you like what's your origin story? How did you? I mean, you're American, and how did you get to Costa Rica?
Yeah, well, let me clarify. I'm a Tingo now.
Oh,
I don't know if you know that. A Tingo, yeah, a Tico Gringo. So I'm not Costa Rican by blood, but by culture, I've, adapted, so to speak, or assimilated, if you will. And
Great.
so, you have Ticos and you have Gringos. Well, I'm a mixture of the both, so I'm a Tingo.
Love it, love it.
Um, but yeah, so essentially, what happened was, I was, I think, 24 at the time. I had graduated from college. I had done some business development. I had put myself in a really sticky situation financially, and I'm 24, no money. My truck is broken. I'm sleeping in it sometimes. I'm sleeping on the couches of friends, just kind of being a little Southern California surf bum. And I wake up one day and my truck doesn't work at all. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get a job. So I went home and looked for full-time work and applied to Wells Fargo, American Express. And I think there was probably another one like JP Morgan or something like that. And Wells Fargo wanted to hire me on the spot. So to make a long story short, I got scared. I ran away. They called me back 2 weeks later and they're like, are you sure you don't want to take this offer? And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll take it. And so my mom had to actually drive me to my first day at corporate America with Wells Fargo Financial. Pretty cool first day for me. Anyways, I'm telling that story because that was an opportunity for me to really understand that all the dreams that I had, which were not going corporate America, were really true. Like that is what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be that corporate America, but sometimes we don't taste that and we think that's what we want. And so anyways, I thought I knew I didn't want to go that route, but I was like, I got to try it just to make sure. And I did, and I hated it. I was good at it. I was selling money. It was right before, a few years before the financial crisis.
Mhm.
And but I had a plan, and the plan was to work my butt off at Wells Fargo Financial to get myself out of the red, and do that for about a year. And I applied for the Peace Corps at the same time that I got the job. So I was like, all right, Peace Corps back in 2004 took 6 to 12 months
Mhm.
in order to accept you. So I was like, I'm just gonna run, work, do what I can, and then ditch. And I got the invite, I think 8 months later, and it was my mom who called me at Wells Fargo Financial. She's like, "You got an envelope from the Peace Corps. Do you want me to open it?" I'm like, "Of course, do it." And she opened it, and she said, "Costa Rica," and I was pissed. I was upset because I had studied anthropology and economics at the University of San Diego, and I really wanted to go somewhere like Bolivia or Peru and work with indigenous cultures and help them get into the modern day economy, but while respecting their worldview and values. And so Costa Rica, I was like, oh man, that place is already developed. But being a surfer, uh, I was like, whoa. And here I am, 15 years later, I'm that guy that never left.
No, I love it because you recognize that that time in Wells Fargo was just a moment in time, but your true calling was outside of that safe space. And I think, for our listeners and for people viewing as well, it's challenging to think of yourself outside of that safe space when you really, because it's, when you're secure, like, what's going to happen, what the job is and everything. But then something like Costa Rica or Bolivia or Peru or anywhere just going abroad, it's completely new. And so my question is, how did you, or what was your decision point to actually apply for the Peace Corps at the time that you did, as you were applying for all these, these corporate America jobs?
Yeah, so I actually had went to an introduction to the Peace Corps at the University of San Diego, and the recruiter at the time was just a wonderful, wonderful person. And when I saw the values that he shared and he emitted in his energy, I was like, I want to be like that person. And so I thought at that moment that probably the Peace Corps would be a place where I could really, I don't want to say transform, but really learn more about myself, as selfish as that might sound, all the while trying to do good work. And I've said this before to other people. At the end of the day, I got a lot more out of the experience than maybe I gave to the community where I currently live. But I'm still living here and still giving to this day to make up for that debt, because this community really opened itself up and embraced me, thankfully.
Yeah, and I guess what will be interesting to hear too is, what skills or lessons did you learn in the Peace Corps that has helped you be successful or continue to thrive in, in your current business, what you're doing now, or if you can share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think there are a handful, and one is change. Peace Corps taught me how to, and so change, is the constant in our lives, and Peace Corps really helped me understand that I needed to adapt and adjust, and that I needed to adjust to another set of values, another rhythm of life that I wasn't accustomed to. And I'm 40 years old now, and I came here when I was 25, and I'm still adjusting. I'm still learning how to adapt and assimilate and understand the culture. Peace Corps also taught me to respect differences, and that it's okay to fundamentally view the world differently, and that you know it's it's okay to agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that oftentimes those lessons, especially with respect to worldviews and respecting other worldviews, and agreeing to disagree, are things that we need to improve upon back in the United States.
Mm,
You know,
great.
there's tons of other lessons, but those are the two big ones, I think.
And no, I love that. It's like, yeah, adapt and change and respect. It's anytime our worlds are turned upside down, it's like we want to stick to what we know. But it's hard because when we stick to what we know, we can't really adapt or accept what the new reality is. And I think that I mean, we go into the what's happened with the pandemic. Um, Having those abilities to do that, and I would love to hear a little bit more or something about how you've been able to adapt and change, in that space, because it's huge. It's, I mean, for a lot of folks out there that have businesses like yours, that require tourists, or just an influx of folks. How have you worked through that? And I think, for anyone listening, like having, dealing with that difficulty of, there is this huge change in front of us. How are we moving through it? And how have you tried to navigate through it positively?
Yeah, well, we're in the service industry. We are a tour operator, and what we wanted to do during the pandemic was really think about all of the value added services that we could offer our network from afar. And we did a lot of reflection and came up with several things that guests had asked us to do in the past, but we weren't able to do them because we were busy being owners and operators of this small business, right? It's not often where you go to a place and you actually interact with the owners of the company on a daily basis, right? That's how we roll. We're very intimate in that sense. And so through brainstorming sessions, we came up with a handful of different things that would add value to the life of our network. Some simple things like a digital cookbook, right? A recipe book. So many times guests were like, oh God, these meals are so great. Do you guys have a cookbook? And we're like, no. And we did it. And it came out, and we asked for a suggested donation of $20 for it, and people were donating 200 to, people were donating 50, people were donating 20. You know, the other thing is that a lot of people kept saying, how do we bundle up my lovely wife Pilar and take her home with us because we love her yoga teachings? I'm like, you can't do that. But so we did during the pandemic, right? We went ahead and she went ahead and our team filmed and created a ton of yoga tutorials and philosophy talks. Now all of those are actually on our Bodhi online membership program that we just launched in the beginning of March, which we're calling a library of well-being. Um, so we were able to do a handful of things, always thinking though, how do we add value to other people's lives?
And I saw those as they rolled out, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those people that like I click and I always I end up like, subscribing and stuff. But I think it's so great to have that experience and to really listen to your guests, and what they wanted, and bringing a little bit of, I love the idea of bringing Costa Rica home back with you, because I haven't touched Costa Rica. I've been there for almost a decade since I left the Peace Corps. So I think that's really great that you're able to do that. Um, so in terms of, I guess, just for your personal philosophy of, staying positive, staying optimistic, like what do you do, Travis? Because I mean, you're like business owner, surfer, entrepreneur, dad, husband, like all of these different roles. Like how do you manage it, and how do you create that harmony in your life? Because I think even for me, like I'd love to learn, because it's challenging. It's challenging with all of these different roles that you play.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people that don't know me on a deeper level, for example, some of our guests, they see me as like this really chill individual, this super chill surfer dude. You know, some people call me like the Mr. Miyagi of surf teaching. And inside, like there's this other Travis just laughing, like, you don't know me too well, do you? Because there's that other side where I'm just like super A type, super goal driven, super competitive. Um, and so I guess to answer your question, how do I keep harmony, is just like the yin and yang, really trying to balance where I get my energy from. And I get them from both sides, like it's interesting. The other day, I was in conversations with this gentleman who was asking me about like the spirituality of surfing,
Mhm.
and he had some questions that he wanted me to ask myself and then start asking my guests. And one of them was actually, who are you, Travis, in Mother Ocean, and who are you, Travis, on land? And are there characteristics of Travis in Mother Ocean that you like about yourself that you're not like on land? And the big thing that I realized through that reflection was, in the ocean, I'm super patient, because you have to be. It's not to say that I'm not assertive and I go after the waves so I can get my wave count up and position myself properly, but I'm patient. I understand I have to wait. And on land, I'm not. And so I'm trying to work on that. So yeah, it's just finding the balance of where I get my energy from. Some days I'm driven to, sell, for example. I like the sales process
Yeah.
because I believe in what we're selling. It's not selling credit anymore, where I would have to literally look at myself at night after a 8-hour work shift selling money to people and be like, you're a horrible person, you know, like that's not it anymore. So that sales drive, that competition, that competitiveness, sorry, like it's coming from a good space, because I really believe in what we have is something that can help people.
Yeah.
But then there's days where I'm just like, this sucks,
Yeah.
you know. I don't like this. This is the grind. I get up and answer emails. I get up and have to pay bills and do transfers and have team meetings and like, you know,
Yeah.
so there's
No,
some techniques I use
yeah.
to
What
keep me going.
so share, like, what do you do?
I smile.
Hey, that's like scientifically proven to make you feel happy. Like just
Yeah,
stop like putting a smile
yeah,
on your face changes the
totally.
message to your brain.
Look at us right now. And to put the icing on the cake, I learned the smiling technique through Wells Fargo Financial's trainings. Yeah, yeah. And now I apply it to my surf lessons. And I tell my surf students, and it was actually a surf student that told me this, to smile while you paddle, because paddling is the hardest thing in surfing. It's about 70 to 80% of it. And if you don't find a way to enjoy paddling, or you don't make it pleasant, you're not going to be able to reap the benefits of surfing the green blue wave. And that dopamine, adrenaline, endorphin rush is not going to ever happen. And that's life, right? Like, smile while you paddle is a metaphor for life, that all the things that we have to get done during the day, the grind and stuff, if we smile while we're doing them, we will be more successful, we'll be happier, we'll be better. And then those moments of bliss will come as well, because you can't get those moments of bliss without paddling. You can't catch the blue green wave if you don't paddle.
Oh,
So that's my tip.
I love that metaphor. Just yeah, paddling is hard. I've done surfing a couple times in my life, and I'd always like, I'm so tired by the time I get to the other side. I'm like, I don't even want to do
Yeah,
anything anymore.
yeah, exactly.
But it's such a great metaphor because yeah, like I mean, even when you think about, I'm thinking about like running a business, raising children, even cooking a meal. It's like 80% is all the prep work. It's
Yes.
all the prep work. It's like you're prepping for that big moment when you get to ride the wave.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I love that. That's like I think I'm gonna put that on my wall. Smile while you paddle. So when I'm doing something tedious, which just as a creative person, I get frustrated with it sometimes because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I know you have to do the hard work in order to get to get the payoff.
Yeah. And it was Saltwater Buddha, a book by Jaimal Yogis, where he really captured that moment, or what we're trying to say right now, the smile while you paddle. And he was talking about how he was paddling out at Ocean Beach in San Francisco, which is one of the most difficult and challenging beaches to surf at, because you have these currents coming out of the San Francisco Bay that reach like 7 knots, and he, in his description, push surfers up and down as if they were driftwood. And he said that he was getting slammed and sand down his throat, getting held down. And at that moment, he was like, I actually like paddling. And then at that moment, he was like, just like you said, there are so many things in life that require the paddling, and that he could start getting better at that part of life too, right? Enjoying those challenging things in life, not just paddling and surfing, but the things in life that one doesn't want to do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, that's a great reflection. And so when you find yourself being more of the type A person, that personality comes out, like what do you do to stay positive? Like if you hit a roadblock, you hit an obstacle, like what do you do? Because I think a lot of folks, like when they hit that roadblock, it's either you can do something good or good for yourself, or go into like something like negative habits. But what is your process for staying positive despite obstacles?
Well, I do a little bit of both, because that's me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should fight the negative stuff all the time. Meaning, like, we should own it. Like,
Mm.
if I'm fighting for something and it's not going my way, and I'm feeling, upset and frustrated, and obviously I want to make sure that I'm being intelligent emotionally, but like also sometimes it's okay to just let out and give a scream, or as long as you're not directing that energy, which I do in some cases, to my daughters or to my wife or to my business partners, or even to the guests. So, but I just, I try and figure out, okay, it's okay to be in this state, and accept it, get over it, and then push through. And then there's other times where I'm like, no, it's not okay to be in this state. And what I need to do is just go take a break, or go take a walk, I don't do it as often as I should. It's something that my lovely spouse has encouraged me to do for a very long time. Like when I get heated and I can't stop talking about a topic, just go take a walk or maybe go for a surf. I look at my lovely mom and she's the same way as me. Like we just can't let things go. Uh, we always have to have the last word, things like that. So these are lifelong challenges that I'll probably be facing when I'm 80 years old.
No, I like that, you don't have to always try to push away the negative, but kind of work through it. And I think that's a good philosophy to have, because yeah, we are human. We have these range of emotions, but it's dealing with it better the next time. And also
Right.
giving ourselves grace when we can, because we're not perfect.
Exactly.
Oh man, now I think I want to interview your mom too.
She's great. She's been through a lot. Ooh, I just got stung by a little bee.
Oh, no. You okay?
That's okay. Yeah, I'm all good.
All right. So Travis, last question. What is your definition of success?
Ooh, I think I'm still figuring that out, to be quite honest. I'll tell you a short story. A few years ago, before the pandemic, and I'm starting to feel this way again, I looked at my life and I was like, oh my God, I have the dream life. Like literally, I had written down years ago that I wanted to have a small little wooden bungalow, a lovely family, the surf school, the community foundation. And I got scared. I was like, oh shoot. Actually, I didn't say shoot. I said, oh shit. I said, oh my God, like I have it, I'm living my dream. And then I started freaking out because I was like, well, what's next? And so, I don't know that, I guess if I were to summarize success, it would be, just a steady state of happiness, you know, um, although we have peaks and troughs naturally, right? That's how life is. That's how waves work. Um, I just think that success is a steady wave of happiness.
Love it. Oh, so good. So good. So Travis, if anyone would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way to reach out? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, I think the best way would be to go to our website, actually, bodhisurfyoga.com. Check us out there and then drop us an email at info@bodhisurfyoga.com. Or you can also find me personally on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. No, super stoked. And I hope you get down here soon.
I know. I hope so too. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Cheers.